I'm a certified calibrator and TV reviewer, and I'm going to show you the most accurate picture settings on an LG OLED for watching SDR, HDR, and Dolby Vision content. The first thing you need to do if you haven't watched my previous video telling you the 6 things you need to change on an LG OLED immediately after unboxing is to make sure that you switch off the energy saving settings. So to do that, click on General and then scroll down, click on Energy Saving, and then under Energy Savings tab, just disable it. If you leave this enabled, what the TV will do is to constantly adjust the picture on screen to match the ambient light in your viewing environment, and sometimes it will be too dark, sometimes it will cause luminance fluctuations. So for the most stable picture, for the most accurate picture, I recommend always switching off the energy saving step setting. Next, we're going to go into the picture mode, and this is in SDR, by the way, so we'll start with SDR first. We need to change the picture mode from the default setting of auto power save to filmmaker mode, and this is generally the most accurate out-of-the-box picture preset on any LG OLED. And after that, we will go into the advanced settings submenu and then check every single one. So brightness, OLED pixel brightness will determine the light output from the TV. And depending on your model, just go for a level that is comfortable for viewing in a dark room for SDR content. So if you increase it, it will clearly make the picture brighter, and if you decrease it, it will make the picture darker. So I think, on LG OLEDs, I think, somewhere below 40 would be good enough for watching in a dark room, maybe even lower if you are trying to target 100 nits like in a reference studio. And then all these are the correct settings, and if we go under color, all these are correct as well. White balance, it would be warm 50 on 2024 LG OLEDs and before, and on 2025 OLED TVs, it should be warm 40. I want you to note that this is not an actual calibration. These are just out-of-the-box most accurate picture for an LG OLED. So if you really want to get the most accurate colors, you will need to probably get your TV calibrated, because there is always panel-to-panel variance during the manufacturing process. But these settings should give you quite a good base as a start for watching content in a more accurate manner on an LG OLED. Next, we go into the clarity submenu, and I would like to turn adjust sharpness all the way to 0. This will reduce or disable any sort of edge enhancement. Now, if you leave it at the default sharpness of 10, then it won't apply any edge enhancement to 4K UHD content, but it will apply edge enhancement to sub 4K content. So as a catch-all, because I'm a stickler for image accuracy and fidelity, I would always adjust sharpness all the way down to 0. And all these are correctly switched off as well. And one thing that you might like to do, because LG OLEDs are not well known for smoothness of their native 10-bit gradation or even 8-bit gradation. So if you are so inclined, if you see some excessive posterization in content, then maybe you can engage smooth gradation to try and apply some decontouring filter so that you won't see as much bending or posterization or solarization or false contouring. Again, I'm just not a fan of unnecessary video processing if it's not needed, so I'll keep it off. The other thing to do would be to make sure that, if you again haven't watched my out-of-the-box video, because I really hate all these unnecessary tips that is happening, so I will go into system and I'll try to find out how to disable this settings help that turn up. So if I turn it off, then you can see that you won't get this description beside every setting, and this should speed up the navigation of the picture menu as well. So that is as far as SDR is concerned. And if you really want to go to the extent of changing your picture mode for both darkroom and brightroom viewing, there are 2 additional picture modes here. So let's say, I think filmmaker mode, we can use it for watching SDR content in the darkroom, but Let's say if you really are watching in an extremely bright environment, certainly not the UK where I'm based, but let's say if you're in Dubai and you have an open plan living apartment, with sunlight streaming in all the time, and filmmaker mode is too dark, then you can set up a separate bright room mode. And the correct way to do it would be to just go for the maximum brightness that you need to overcome the ambient light in your viewing environment. I would correctly leave gamma at 2.2 and make sure that color gamut is set to auto detect, because you don't want to apply a native color gamut to Rec. 709 SDR content. And then white balance, this is 𝗲𝗚𝗊𝗀, correct for 2024 LG OLEDs and before, but on 2025 LG OLEDs it would be 𝗲𝗚𝗊𝗀 by default, which will target the D65 white point. Change adjust sharpness all the way to 0 as before. Make sure true motion is either off, or if you are really sensitive to the inherent stutter in 24p content, then go for cinematic movement to try and smooth that out. But again, I can always detect soap opera effect. My eyes are a bit too sensitive. I would always keep true motion off. And let's go back and switch this back to filmmaker mode, because realistically for my use and for probably many of you watching this channel as well, I think you are almost always going to watch SDR content in a dark room or not a very bright room. So that's the SDR side of things covered, and we will need to set up the HDR side of things. But one way of doing it very quickly without needing to change disk, because I'm very lazy, I haven't even mowed my lawn. So what we need to do is to try and force this TV into HDR mode, and the way to do it is to hover your cursor on the select mode in the picture mode menu, and then press 1113111 on your remote control, which will open up a secret HDMI signaling override submenu. And to force HDR10 output from an SDR signal, what you need to do is to change the EOTF to ST2084. And you can see that an HDR pop-up notification has appeared on the top right of the screen. And after doing that, the default HDR picture preset will be standard. We need to change it to filmmaker mode again, and then go through it. The brightness, leave it at 100, and then the contrast, leave it at 100, because these are necessary for accurate PQ EOTF tracking and also the highest peak brightness that any LG OLED is capable of. And then under color, white balance, these are all correct. 𝗲𝗚𝗊𝗀 is correct for 2024 LG OLEDs and before. 2025 models should have 𝗲𝗚𝗊𝗀, which is the default, which is still targeting D65 white point. And if we go into the clarity submenu, again adjust sharpness. I like to just turn it all the way down to 0, and all these are correct. Again, with smooth gradation, you can choose low if you are seeing quite a lot of posterization when watching 4K Blu-ray movies or watching streaming. Talking of which, since the pandemic, some streaming providers, including Netflix, have throttled the bit rates of certain shows, especially in Europe, resulting in a softer picture with more compression artifacts. This is where a VPN comes in. Surfshark allows you to stream content from another country without needing you to be physically there, so you can stream Netflix at higher bit rates with better picture quality. And you can even get other titles that are not available in your regions. For example, more movie titles from Netflix in the USA for less than the price of a Big Mac per month. There's 24/7 live customer support, a 30-day money-back guarantee, and if you go to surfshark.com/HDTV test and use code HDTV test at checkout, you will also get 4 extra months free. So sign up today and give Surfshark a try. I will put a link in the YouTube description below. Thanks again for your support. Okay, you can either choose to use smooth gradation low to reduce the amount of polarization you see, or just switch it off if you are a stickler for image fidelity and you would like to avoid unnecessary tempering of the picture, because even though you can reduce the amount of polarization, it will also scrub off some very fine detail. After that, what we will do is to set up your LG OLED for Dolby Vision content. And before that, let's switch this output back to SDR for SDR content. So the way to do that again is to go to the picture mode selection option, highlight it, and then press 1113111. Remember to switch the EOTF back to auto, which means that the TV will be outputting SDR for SDR content and outputting HDR for HDR content. After doing this, we will try and set up for Dolby Vision, and the easiest way to do it is to just fire up Netflix, sign in, go into the account and select a Dolby Vision show. And let's go to Toxic Town, since it's the #1 show in the UK, and you can see that it is available in Dolby Vision. So if we just click play, and then just click pause, and then let's start again. Filmmaker mode is the most accurate picture preset for watching Dolby Vision content, and if you go into it, advanced settings, brightness, just leave all this at default. Color, again leave all this at default. White balance, just leave it as default. And clarity, adjust sharpness, go down all the way to 0. And there you go. This is how I would set up an LG OLED for accurate picture when watching SDR, HDR, and Dolby Vision content. Now, I have also done another video where I set up the game optimizer mode on any LG OLED for use with a Sony PS5 or PS5 Pro console, and you can watch my instruction video by clicking here.